Yeah. Take a deep breath in. Exhaling, just feeling yourself land, feel your body land where it is right now. And another deep breath in, deepest breath you've taken all day. Expanding your body, making space for new possibilities. And Mother, Father, God, Lord God of all creation, we are so grateful for this time to come together, to consciously invite you into this co-creation of love, of expansion, of abundance. We just ask now you would lift up, clear out, and remove any forms of negativity that may now be present, any remaining doubts, fears, worries, any judgments of ourselves or others, limiting beliefs, or any pattern at all that no longer serves us. We know that each time we ask, you can and will lift something. And for that, we're so grateful. And into this clearing, we invite your loving, your peace, clarity, so that each of these beautiful souls knows their next right step, knows their value, owns it, and moves forward into their beautiful calling to serve others with peace and knowing that only you can give us. And we ask that all of this today, or something better, happen for the highest good of all concerned. And so it is. Let's admit these beautiful souls. Okay. Hello, welcome, everybody. So nice to see your beautiful faces. So I'm excited for today, sharing with you some of the just very basics of spiritual psychology that I use to transform my life and use on a almost daily basis in my own life and with my clients. So very excited for that. So, but let's start by checking in. I'd just love to hear how you're doing. Successes, challenges, hello, anything you'd like to share? Who'd like to start us off? And if you don't have anything to say, well, I have plenty and we'll just jump in. Go ahead, Rochelle.
Hi, everyone. I guess successes will be like all my closing sessions with my clients, which have started last week to this week, and how meaningful they've been, and just being able to reflect on the work together and then them back. It's just been really more heartwarming and meaningful than I even imagined. So just further ignites the work.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quite like it. That is there. Sitting across from a client who's sharing with you their breakthroughs. Beautiful. Anyone else? I'm going to say hello, share a success, share anything you want to share. Okay, well, I'll dive in then. Of course, you're welcome to, it's easiest for me. Well, if I miss your physical hand going up, click on the reactions down there and do raise hand, because that puts you, for me, it puts you right at the very top, and then I definitely won't miss it, but I can see most of your hands. So here we are, the basics of spiritual psychology. Let's dive right in. For centuries, we have relied on a psychological model for healing based solely on perspectives and perceptions of the mind. But when you look into any dictionary at the definition of the word psyche, which is the root of psychology, it says breath, principle of life, soul. But you open to any other dictionary and look at the definition of psychology, it's called the science of mind and behavior. So I put my little random thoughts in here. Where did the soul go? Where did the soul go? So spiritual psychology is all about putting the psyche, its original definition, back into psychology. The definition that will be in the books that I've sent you all books. So you have this in the first few pages, is the study and practice and the art and science of human evolution in consciousness. In consciousness. So I want to share with you all something that I use. I teach this class called Finding the Love of Your Life. And we talk about in that class how the real way is not some dating trick or hacks, or people ask me, what dating app do I use? But the real way to attract a beloved, to attract someone who adores you, and I know all of you know this, is to raise your consciousness higher so that you attract a different kind of experience. Have any of you, like me, attracted relationships that were not healthy, maybe even dysfunctional, maybe even toxic? Have you ever attracted a relationship like that? No, just me. Okay. So lots of people attract toxic, dysfunctional relationships, and it has to do with where our level of consciousness is. So these are just words I put up there. Lots of different people call these different similar things, but spiritual psychology is all about ascending and feeling more and more peace, love, joy, acceptance, courage, all the positive good stuff. And then from that place, we ourselves and our clients feel better, and they're at a place of attracting whatever it is they want. So whatever they, in their discovery session with you or in any sessions with you, say, gosh, I really, really want X, whether it's an increase in income to improve their health, their fitness, their finances, for sure, their relationships. The answer comes in what is the root of spiritual psychology. It comes in up-leveling their consciousness. So that's what it's all about. So let me talk to you some more about the perspectives of spiritual psychology. And the end game being, you've got a very powerful tool that I'm going to share with you today, and perspective to help you heal your own issues and your clients. So spiritual psychology and many other religions, most major religions out there, suggest this idea that we are souls having a human experience rather than the other way around, humans who have a soul. So we are souls, we are, energetic beings, and there's huge parts of us that we don't have access to very easily in the human realm. Who speaks French way better than me? Pierre, I'm not even going to try to say his name. Desjardins? I am not French. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So that's nice, but what does that mean, and how does that get practical for coaches? Well, spiritual psychology is one of the foundational things that we were taught the first weekend, is that from this higher perspective that, hey, I'm a soul having a human experience, not a human who sometimes has some soulful and cool spiritual experiences. There's a whole lot going on in my life that I'm not aware of. And from this higher perspective, things have a different meaning than they do than from the perspective of our personality or our ego. A lot of you, again, probably are already aware of that. But how this gets practical for us is that when we can have some elevation and look from this higher place, we can look at things that happen to us in our life for the purpose of learning, not from the purpose of victim, like, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? So the new perspective here is we are souls having a human experience rather than the other way around, humans with a soul. From this higher perspective, everything that happens in our life is custom designed for our learning and growth. I marched into my first weekend in spiritual psychology in massive pain, massive pain. Was going through a divorce. Not only did my husband have an affair, he also was behaving in other really unconscious and hurtful ways. Not going to get too into that. But immediately I started feeling a little bit better. It had reminded me, I had just, right when I started spiritual psychology, the weekend before that, a friend had invited me to Honolulu to present, and we were presenting at the Marriott. I have an old career in teaching customer service, which has a surprising amount of overlap to parenting and other things. So she wanted me to join her thing. Ultimately, I said no. I realized like I had a different calling than customer service for hotel employees, even though I had a background in it being from Aspen. So we went, and she was kind of a diva personality. And they gave us a room on like the third floor of the Marriott. And she went into the desk and said, I don't know what she said, because I was not sitting with her, but she's just like, look, I am a beloved presenter here, and we need a better room. And so it's like, you could see the ocean from I think we were on the third floor. You could see the ocean. It was actually kind of lovely. We were facing the ocean, but then we moved up to like the 24th floor. Totally different perspective, right? You could see all of Honolulu, which is, some parts are not that appealing, but you could see Diamond Head. It was like, well, I'm like, wow, it was completely different perspective. And so I literally had the perspective of like the third floor balcony and then the 26th floor balcony. And it's just a whole different, right? You see a different landscape. So when they taught me this in spiritual psychology, I was like, oh, it was kind of like when we got moved up, it's a different perspective. And it didn't heal me in the first weekend hearing this, but something lifted for me when I was able to move up the spiritual ladder of consciousness and see, wait, all this with my husband may have happened for some real opportunity. It was hard to swallow, but it was a new perspective that helped me heal. So let's go to the second page.
Thank
Now,
you. What did you say? Everything's designed for what and growth?
learning.
Okay.
Learning and growth. Our teachers kept saying, and again, some of these concepts are not probably totally new to you. They call it Earth School. And then when we get upset or we get triggered, they would say school's in session, from an extremely compassionate place, right? We don't want to kind of run out to our clients and be like, well, school is in session. So, and we definitely don't want to do the spiritual bypass thing of, well, everything happens for a reason. You're a soul having a human experience. So that way of using this information is a spiritual bypass. But when people were upset, they would very graciously ask this question, what's the opportunity to imagine for you here? What's the learning opportunity? What's the growth opportunity, right? So we are coaches, we ask questions like that. And learning opportunities for what, right? I guess just to go back to the first page for a moment, they're all opportunities to heal our unresolved issues. If you want to write that under there, that's the specific opportunity. The idea being, when we get triggered in any circumstance, whether it's a level 10 trigger, like it was for me and my husband's having an affair, or it's a lower one, 4 or 5, that we're aggravated with our partner or something, or our kids, or our boss, or the people driving on the 405, that all that stuff, all those triggers happen because of a wound that's already in us. So that each time we get triggered is another opportunity to take another slice off of an unresolved issue. Marianne Williamson speaks to this in one of her quotes. She said, for every relationship, every situation is part of a divinely created and highly specific curriculum for your soul growth. Every relationship, every situation is part of a divinely created and highly specific curriculum for your soul growth. So now going to the next page, we're going to talk about something called soul line versus goal line. So if you're a soul-centered coach, this is one of the things that differentiates you from other coaches who are kind of accountability coaches, or what we would call a goal line coach. And there's nothing wrong with that, where you've got someone who's checking in with you, holding you accountable. Let's just say your goal was fitness. Did you work out? How many times did you work out? What do you need to do to get to the gym? But in spiritual psychology, what you're looking at here on your piece of paper, we talk about this upward vertical line called the soul line. And then the other line, horizontal, being the goal line. And one is not better than the other. The goal line is what happens in the physical world. So it's things like, I want to make 50% more income. I want to have a lean body mass of 25%. I want to have 8 clients. That's the goal line. That's physical world reality. Those are meaningful and great goals. The soul line is the evolution up that ladder of consciousness. And every major religion has this in it in one form or another. The soul line is an increase in levels of acceptance. Am I more accepting than I was 6 months ago? Compassion. Love. Peace, big one, right? What I had on that ladder of consciousness. And as a soul-centered coach, that's our really big goal with our clients. Because what happens is when we help them move up the soul line into more compassion, more peace, then clarity comes. Does this make sense? Alignment drops in. Oh, does this feel aligned for me? You know, sure, you're talking about working with people with their authentic self. The voice of their authentic self can come in. Clarity is a huge one people struggle with, not knowing what to do, which thing to do. And our goal as soul-centered coaches is to help people, and I'm going to give you the super practical skill to do that. There are many ways to do that. Of course, challenging limiting beliefs is one really great way to do that. You holding space and acknowledging their feelings and accepting them, that's a great way to do that. But this is the one of my other favorite principles of spiritual psychology is this. How you relate to yourself as you go through the issue is the issue. How you relate to yourself as you go through the issue is the issue. I am saying this over and over and over again to myself and to my clients, right? Here, like my dating ladies are, I'm leading an online course called Finding the Love of Your Life. They're like, I've been on X number of dates this year. It could be 5 or it could be 50. What's wrong with me that I can't find someone? Do you hear the problem there? Right? I mean, it's super obvious to all of you who are coaches, but it's like, then my job is someone asks that question. And by the way, when people ask these questions, my dating ladies, I have my daughter forced me to start a YouTube channel, and she forces me to do Instagram videos. I mean, I like it, but you know, she's my little millennial in there making that stuff happen. And so I write down these questions that people ask. Can you see how how is my client relating to herself? And she's like, what is wrong with me that I haven't found someone yet? Right? So my job is not to brainstorm which dating app for her to go on, right? My job is to help her relate to herself in a way like, is that the truth? Is it true that something's wrong with you? So that's more limiting beliefs. And so that limiting beliefs are a super powerful way to move people up this. I'm giving you another one today. So we talked about the power of questions here. So one of the most powerful questions that comes from spiritual psychology, down here below, you can ask your clients, and in parentheses, only after you've processed their feelings. You see the importance of that, right? Because otherwise it's spiritual bypassing. This phrase, everything happens for a reason, is abusive if we just shoot it out there to someone who's in pain. It's extremely helpful if we've sat with them, held space, and witnessed their feelings, help them process through their feelings. And then we ask this question: if this experience, whatever their pain they're experiencing is, was a divine conspiracy, if this experience was a divine conspiracy, what might have been the purpose of this? So you'll probably have to give some amount of setup for it by giving some kind of talk about the goal line, soul line, or the ladder of consciousness. If you want me to put that, I'm going to add that to your, would that be helpful? Is the ladder of consciousness? I'll put it in the resources in case it will help you. There are many, many people who have some version of this online. Mine's not terribly unique. So this can be one of the most powerful questions that has people break down in tears and get tremendous clarity that I can ask people after I've acknowledged their feelings, sat with them, and we're getting to a place of wanting to make a shift. If this was a divine conspiracy, what might have been the purpose of this?
So Vicky, just to speak question, just because you just said something, I think you may have just answered it in your sentence, like before going to a question like this, you're validating sitting with feelings, because I feel like if someone were to just go to this and not, I feel like that's like spiritual bypassing.
That is spiritual bypassing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got, the one exception might be you've got a long relationship with a client. You work with them for 5 or 6 months and you have a tremendous deep bond, and you're really coming from a loving place and you've got that foundation. But for most people, that's why I don't put this question in your list of questions at the beginning. It's extremely powerful if used in a correct way. Like in the dating course I'm teaching, I'm working up to it in the 8-week course, right? We're on week 5 right now. And I haven't pulled this out. People are just, we just did projection work last night where people wrote down they wrote down all the complaints they had about all their past relationships. And are starting to do the projection work of owning, oh, hey, wait, this was happening inside of me first. That's why I attracted this, right? So that's kind of like people are emailing me after last night. They're like, wow, that was hard to look at, So this one I'm saving for later when we're bonded. We have a lot of trust built up. Great question. So with that in mind, I've been praying on and meditating on for a while. Like if I could just give you one thing from spiritual psychology, and by the way, you're getting a book that's got many practices, and I can't recommend enough that you study that book and the practices that are in there. But if I'm thinking about, well, what's the one that I use the most that is not very understood by most people that would serve you in working with your clients, it's really this one on the next page, on page 3. It's a new definition, a new look at forgiveness. And this is one of the foundations of spiritual psychology, is something called compassionate self-forgiveness. It's something we went back to over and over and over and over again. A new definition of forgiveness, one from the Course in Miracles, a forgiveness is a shift in perception, a shift in perception. One shift in perception that I've just offered you here today for your consideration is there's a divine conspiracy for your growth. And I'll tell you my personal story and how I use this because healing from betrayal is a big one, right? And specifically, I don't know if I've shared this detail with those of you here, but my husband brought this woman to our home. Like to me, it's kind of one level of invasiveness that, I was drunk and I was on in a hotel on a business trip. It's like, that would be very, very painful. But side note, Gay Hendricks said that level of betrayal, Vicky, usually points to a wound in infancy. That level of betrayal. At least it started to make sense for me. And I've done some real work unearthing, specifically talking to my mother, who was extremely willing to help me unearth what on earth could have happened to me that I would have attracted that level of betrayal. But spiritual psychology is what helped me heal it. So I bring to you my juiciest, deepest work I've done around it to show you the possibility for transformation. So Course in Miracles, forgiveness is a shift in perception. One perception is, wait, what if this was happening for me? Or if people aren't ready to hear that it's happening for them, what I will say to them is this: it was a gift in crappy wrapping paper. The gift in crappy wrapping. It's just like, okay, well, that's really crappy wrapping, but let me see what's in here. Is there something in here for me despite that? And then the spiritual psychology, new, different, up-leveled version of forgiveness is a process of releasing judgments. A process of releasing judgments. So I read all the books on forgiveness because I was a spiritual person when I went through my husband's cheating. And none of them did anything for me, not until I got to spiritual psychology, where it was, oh, wait, it's a process of releasing judgments. What is that? Right? Because this is like, oh, I forgive you. I mean, I would even say the words. I got to the point where I would say the words. I would do my best to mean it. But then all my anger and attack, I'd even say attack. I mean, this brought out the ugliest depths of my husband and I used to never fight. Of course, that's a problem because we were both people pleasers and we were conflict avoidant. This was one of the root problems of our relationship. You got two people pleasers, neither of them courageous enough or willing to speak their truth. That causes just like resentment to pile on top of resentment on top of resentment. So that was one of the shaky foundations of our relationship. And so, it's not just like, oh, okay, you did this, I forgive you. Releasing judgments caused me to start being less angry toward him. He got 2 solid years of me screaming at him. In fact, including in the parking lot of Noma Sushi, those of you who are local, which is a little sushi place on Wilshire Boulevard across the street from University of Santa Monica. So I'm in my spiritual psychology program, and on the 20-minute break, I'm out in Noma Sushi going, what the F, would have had to bleep everything, is wrong with you? And I'm just like, okay, this is not good. This is not good. I mean, here I'm in the spiritual psychology program, just telling you, like, this was the depth of my wound, because I want you to know the power of this process. And the power in it is not that you do it once and it's a once and done process. The power is like, think of it as working out. If you wanted to get in shape, you would not go do a really intense 3-hour workout and be like, well, there's handled for 2022. Now we're all done with the working out. Let me just check that off. This is a spiritual fitness program. It is a spiritual fitness program whereby if we or our clients have an upset, get triggered, this is what we meet it with. It's like a Band-Aid. If you're a little guy, those of you who've got kids get a little scrape on their knee, you're going to put a Band-Aid on and clean it up every time. You're not going to let those wounds just fester. My professor in spiritual psychology, H. Ronald Holnick, where there is judgment, there is suffering. Self-forgiveness releases judgments. So I have given you, page 7 is a blank worksheet for you to use with your clients. So it's just using this worksheet. And oh dear, I think the numbering got off. I apologize. That's a mistake. I'll fix that. It says number 2, but it should be number 1. So I'll fix this. I'll fix this and upload another one for you. 1. So you're not going to think you're missing a page or something. So my bad on page 7. But the idea is that you have this worksheet. You know, if you sit with clients like I do with a notepad, stick it in there. So below is a result of many, many months of deep work around forgiving my former husband. So this was not like at the end of my 2 years of spiritual psychology, this is the stuff I was bringing forward, but it took me months to kind of unearth all of this. So if you're working with a client, they may only have 1 or 2 things in here. I put a lot here so you can get some ideas about very common things that happen for people, but your person might only have 1 or 2. That's fine. They may have 1. Their whole thing is like, she's mean, she's inconsiderate, she's a jerk, she's a bitch, whatever it is. So work with whatever they come out with. But here's mine, working my process. You start with writing down your judgment about yourself and or others. So I changed my husband's name to protect the guilty and the innocent. I just put John in here. John is cruel. John is unconscious. John is a bad father, self-centered. And then go to the next page. I had a lot more about him, but this is where you really want to do the work, is where people's judgments are coming up about themselves. I am unattractive. I'm too old. I'm too boring. I'm undesirable. Ouch, right? I'm not important. Ouch. I'm unworthy. I'm unlovable. These were my deep, deep judgments about myself that I lived into every day, causing tremendous amounts of pain. Then you place your right hand over your heart to help you connect with the love inside of you. It can be helpful to think of a child or a pet that you love to really activate that loving energy. This is important. I really slow down here on number 2. And then for each judgment you have listed, you repeat the following. So I want any of you here today to think about, do you have something you're upset about currently and would like to volunteer to be taken through this process today? It doesn't have to be as big and dramatic as mine, but do you have any place where you're triggered? And you can say no, that's fine. We'll go a different direction if you don't want to, but it's extremely helpful to watch it demoed for a real upset. So just think about that as I go through this. Then you say these words. I forgive myself for judging John as cruel. I forgive myself for judging John as unconscious in each thing. And most importantly, I forgive myself for believing I'm unattractive. I forgive myself for believing I'm too old. I'm younger at age 60 than I was at 42 when I was doing this work. I am younger now because of my insights, because of my joy, because of my exuberance, because of the peace that I have genuinely floating through my life. Next page. Oh, I see. Wow, the numbering got all wanky. That's number 3, not number 1. And then I invite people to say these words. Of course, of course, based on my past conditioning, I believed these things, right? You don't even have to get into all that here. Maybe you work with them on another time about what limiting beliefs they came up with about themselves from their childhood. What's true is, and they may not totally believe this, it's got to be 50% believable though. What's true is, I am beautiful. I really felt very ugly. And my last modeling job was at age 41 for the Ritz-Carlton in Aspen, Colorado. I got a check from them. Paul and I just found the CD with the modeling pictures. it didn't matter that I was hired by the Ritz-Carlton of Aspen to be their model for a big giant photo shoot. When you have,
Wait, Vicky, you were also a model?
I had in Aspen, I was what's called a lifestyle model. Yeah.
And what haven't you done?
Yeah. I didn't, I had a weird, criteria that was super rare. I'm 5'10", I was thin, and I'm an expert skier. So that combination is super rare, and they sought me out. And then, so I did like lifestyle modeling, like for a hotel, I didn't do high fashion or anything like that, but I was in a lot of brochures and stuff. I don't tell anybody I'm a model because I don't like it. I have no pride about it. I'm sorry if any of you are former models. I have no pride about being a model. It's like, okay, God made me look like this. Y'all want people to look like that. I'm going to come be in your photos. It was also pretty degrading to me because they literally would refer to me. They would, like, there were 3 of us in this, and they'd be like, get the talent over there. And I'm like, wow, I'm not even a separate human. I'm in a group called the talent. So I didn't like it. So that's why I don't talk about it. I have I don't think it's, yeah, I did do that. Yeah. So it was just random. I'd just be walking around living my best life in Aspen, and there were some huge, one of the top photographers for 2 big magazines lived there, Outdoor and some other sporting magazine. So those guys lived there. Mark Kelly was one of the guys. I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were huge, the biggest outdoor photographers in the United States. So they were always looking for talent. Yeah. So right. Point being, doesn't matter what's going on out here, or, if you feel ugly, you feel ugly. It's an inside thing, right? I have a youthful spirit no matter my age. I really lived into that. I didn't quite believe it. I love my body. My body was way better at 42 than it is now. It's good. It was great when I was 42. I'm desirable. I'm important to myself and others. I'm worthy. I'm lovable. So your clients probably won't believe these things, but this is where it's your job as a coach to put your stake in the ground of your belief for your clients. And that's why I only work with people who I like and I believe in, because it's really easy for me to put my stake in the ground for them because I believe in them. And your belief does hold a space, does do something. And I can't tell you, the women who come who are single, who are especially 35, 38, 39, 42, naming the ages I currently have right now, where the biological clock is ticking, which I've never experienced. So I can't imagine how painful it must be to have a deep ache to have a child and be 39 years old, breaking up with your boyfriend because he's not right for you. And they all say the same thing. Do you really believe this can happen for me? Do you really believe this can happen for me? And I do believe 100%. I absolutely believe that. And so you sometimes have to hold that for your clients and say it at this point. And let me tell you, there were many tears and crying, and it was a mix of disbelief and some possibility for me before I believe this here today. And then we want to get them into action. Action is a super important final part of this. It can be tiny. That's why on your action steps, I say, what tiny step? Tiny step. Don't, in fact, I'm constantly coaching people to pull back from whatever because a lot of times people feel so much better at this point. They're just like, I'm going to call every single one of my vendors and tell them I'm going to blah, blah. I'm like, why don't we just call the one? How about, why don't we just email one of your vendors about, with one of my clients who's overworking and doing too much. So you back it down when they make it too big and too unachievable for themselves. I will demonstrate myself I am important by, and I just put a few things down here, lovingly setting boundaries, speaking loving affirmations to myself daily, which I did into the mirror until I believed it. I would say, you are beautiful. And I would start crying into the mirror and taking care of myself. Now, this is kind of vague, but at University of Santa Monica, we had a big worksheet we had to fill out called a nurturing journal, where we committed part of spiritual psychology is self-care, spiritual, mental, emotional. I will put that in the resources also. I've made my own beautiful version of that. I'm going to send that one to you in a Word doc so you guys can change it and make it for yourselves. I'll show you what it looks like though. So here's mine. Wow, I have this left over from University of Santa Monica. Mine's a really colorful, pretty version that I'll give you. So it's called a Heal Your Heart Plan. So don't get overwhelmed and don't overwhelm your clients. But at USM, I was in part of a program that this was required, right? So I just want you to check in with your client. What's one thing you can do? So I had my love myself part, where it says love myself, and heal the relationship. So again, we were in a master's level program, so I had a lot to do every day. But even in spiritual psychology, we did one. We did that for a few weeks, then we added another, then we added another. It wasn't just like, go do all of this. So things I did for self-care: journal my feelings 4 to 5 days a week to help process my emotions. Dance, gigantic part of my healing process, required by Gay Hendricks. Gay Hendricks was my coach. His wife has her PhD in dance therapy. And he said, if you're not going to dance, tribal, intense dance for 10 minutes a day, I will not coach you. I was his last, he said his last, it's kind of dramatic, client one-on-one. He went on to write detective books. He quit doing seminars and he quit coaching people one-on-one. He's written this. He was going to write a series of 10. He writes these detective books about a monk, a Tibetan monk. So it's like, he's like, so if I'm going to coach you and you're not dancing 10 minutes a day, I will stop coaching you. That's how important it is. Barbara knows, she's a body worker, right? To release that, because now we know about trauma. I didn't know about trauma. This was 17 years ago. Now we know about trauma and it gets stored in your body. No wonder they had that as a requirement to shake off the trauma I had. Daily compassionate self-forgiveness. This was required for everyone. And just to tell you the importance of this practice, when I got my certification, my optional 3rd year at University of Santa Monica was a certification in coaching. You could also get a certificate. You could also get become a therapist, right? I was very torn about that pathway, about coaching or therapy. Very torn. It took me a year to make my decision to choose coaching, and I am so glad I did. But as part of that program, for your consideration, to understand the importance of this process of self-forgiveness, they said, if you're going to be a soul-centered coach, we expect you to do compassionate self-forgiveness daily. It's the spiritual equivalent of brushing your teeth. You would not go to bed without brushing your teeth. Do not go to bed as a soul-centered coach without clearing your energy field of your judgments. So sometimes mine are so minor, sometimes I just have one. Sometimes it's just like, we all have judgments. We are judging ourselves. But when I have really good days, I really only have one, maybe two. But we've had kind of a level of upset, drama, and trauma in my family that's extremely rare. So I've had a big opportunity to practice compassionate self-forgiveness and forgive myself for all the judgments that got reactivated by me upsetting my child, who's in Australia, where I have absolutely no way to comfort her. So for me, it's like, there's nothing more, it's hardly anything more upsetting, like that you triggered the crap out of your child. I have amazing relationships with my children, but I did compassionate self-forgiveness the other night until I fell asleep. So extremely, extremely powerful. We're going to take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to ask if anyone wants me to take them to this process. It doesn't have to be a level 10 upset. Samara, are you going to volunteer for that? Fantastic. All right. So thank you. That's going to, you and everyone are going to learn a lot from that. So 5-minute dance or whatever kind of break, pet your dog or cat break. I'll see you back in 5. All right. Welcome back. Okay. Samara, I'm ready for you when you are.
Okay, so I have two. You tell me which one's better. So I've been kind of working on like survival behaviors of people pleasing and like needing to sort of do that with my mom when I was younger. And like always feeling like I have to fix something. So that's one. Or the other one is like just balancing being a new mom, but also being an entrepreneur and working and like sort of, I guess, like the guilt that's coming up with that. Or like, I don't know if guilt is the right word, but the like opportunity for growth.
Got it. Which one is the most upsetting to you emotionally?
I mean, I guess the first one, but I also like feel like I have support on that. Like I feel like I've like kind of been processing that, whereas the other one I haven't really processed at all. So I don't know. They're both good.
So close your eyes, put your hand over your heart, go inside. And just take a moment, just take a deep breath and ask your heart, ask your body. This is the place that knows.
I guess we can go with the first one.
Yeah, that was my sense. When there's a parent involved, there's usually a lot more emotional. So I did 2 coaching.
Well, they're both like, have the parent thing involved in a way.
I bet. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the first one. So what coaching thing I did here, I'm just doing a timeout. I asked her what the big one is, because when we clear the big one, when people can't decide which one, when we clear the biggest one, it affects everything, because it raises their level of consciousness, because that's the block, that's the thing. And even in they're like, well, it's about my horse. I don't know, it's not really related. I came to work with you on my business. But it's just like, whatever the one that's got the most emotion, go with that. And then when someone doesn't know, going inside. So this is one of the most simple. Are you feeling something right there, Samara? What's going on with the hands?
Oh, sorry. They were just sweating.
Oh yeah. So tell me about that. If those hands could talk, what would they say right now?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's also I'm outside and it's extremely hot out today, so I don't know if it's because of that or because like I'm like, ooh, sweaty palms.
Okay. Okay. So let's just call him the light, because the light, as a soul-centered coach, the light is an extremely powerful healer. So I'm just going to do a little miniature. Everyone close your eyelids. And I just want to take all of us take a deep breath in. And Mother, Father, God, we just ask that you infuse this process here right now with your loving and light. We know that we are carriers of that and assisters in the powerful light that's doing the healing work here. And I just want to invite all the rest of us, Barb, Andre, Rochelle and Shira to send light to Samara as she so bravely shows up and does this work. All right. So what's your intention around this issue, Samara, before we even get into the specifics of it? What would you like to have happen?
I think my intention around the issue is to not be afraid to set boundaries and not be afraid if like somebody else is upset that I need to fix it.
Okay.
And to like then also not take it personally.
So there's a few, but we want to get them all out here. To not be afraid to set boundaries. To the last one, not take it personally. It's a powerful one. And the second one was to
I don't remember. Not be afraid of conflict, I think.
to set boundaries.
That wasn't it, but that's also one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Of conflict. Okay. So one of the first coaching opportunities, everybody here, is anyone notice anything about her intentions that could use a little bit of coaching? They're fantastic. They're clear. They're juicy. Yeah, Andre stated in the positive. So we want to, line up energetically toward what we want. So we'll just go flip each one. So to not be afraid to set boundaries would be, if we're to state it in the positive, how would that sound?
To be excited about setting boundaries.
That's a stretch, we can play with that. Or we could say to courageously, what resonates for you, or just to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, just because we're a really ball group of people here, I would be afraid. I would be okay with being afraid and set the boundaries. I think the growth opportunity is like, we can't always get rid of fear. It's oftentimes the action that gets rid of the fear. So I would just change. I wouldn't try to get to, I think it's very worthy and elevated goal to get to peace before we take action, but we can't always do that. So we're just gonna set boundaries. To not be afraid of conflict. If we were to put that in the positive, Samara, what would that sound like?
To welcome conflict.
Yeah. To welcome conflict.
I don't really want to do that though.
I know, because you're a Libra, and that is so antithesis of every selling your body. So maybe welcome is too big of a stretch. We want people to be stretched 50%, but we don't want people to be stretched 75 to 100%, because that's just going to explode their brains, and they'll push out the possibility to what would be more a stretch for you, but not as shocking to your system as welcoming conflict.
To be comfortable with conflict.
Be comfortable. And just to even be more comfortable. Yeah. I was married to a Libra, so I understand the Libra energetic very well. And have compassion for that,
It's my birthday on Friday.
Happy birthday. And if we're to not take it personally, that's a tricky one to put in the positive.
I guess it would be to be open to like other people's experiences, or like empathetic, maybe.
Okay. To others, and would it be more accurately to say to others' perceptions? Experience?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah, because that would maybe be like related to taking something personally.
Yeah, okay, great. So this is important, just coaching note, we want these to be stated in the positive. For one thing, when we get to the end, we want to be able to look back and see if we did it. Secondly, we want these to be your guiding principle as the coach. So this coaching is very important to get people's intentions stated in the positive. It's on a workshop. I buried it somewhere in, it's in the worksheet on doing a discovery session. Like, have them stated in the positive, make sure it's stated in the positive. So beautiful. Okay, now tell me, I'm not going to do any more side notes, by the way, because I'm going to now stay in the flow with coaching Samara. We can talk about it afterwards. So Samara, I'm 100% with you now, but tell me what it is and what's going on.
Well, I think just in general, I have a pattern, and I think it probably started from when I was young, of just having conflict in my house or just being really sensitive to it. And so wanting to like make my probably parents, but my mom specifically, happy by like people pleasing or just being a good girl. And if she had a reaction that wasn't pleasant or like, then I would like, because I was adverse to conflict, want to like fix it and like, what's it called? Like disregard my own boundaries and my own feelings in lieu of fixing it and like making sure that like there was peace.
Got it. And has there been an event or kind of series of events recently that's triggered this, or that was this?
No, I think honestly, it's like more of just like something that I'm realizing as a survival behavior that obviously plays out in other areas in my life. I guess sort of the most recent one was when I had Oliver, and I didn't want anyone staying at our house. I just wanted our house to be like our sacred vessel and space for us. And so like it came up there for sure. I mean, now this is like, 6 or 9 months ago, because like I let her know ahead of time. I mean, something so small yesterday, like my mom is a clothing distributor, and so she's coming to town, and I asked her if she could bring me some stuff, and so she sent me line sheets, and I picked a few things, and she, then when I, she's like, well, this is definitely not going to fit in a carry-on. And like, not the worst thing to have to check a luggage, but like to my mom, it is, so like, I guess when she says that, it makes me feel like unimportant, that she can't just like check a luggage or let it's a big deal. I think also, and she's like, well, none of these are samples. And like, cause samples are like free. And I was like, but you didn't send me a sample list. How could any of them be samples? And she's like, well, like, I know there is no sample list. And I'm like, okay. So like, it was also her own, whatever, anxiety, energy thing around it. Bless you. That, I think I was just kind of like, I just let it go. But like, things like that happen all the time.
They happen. Okay. Got it. And so I heard one judgment. So if we can really, if you'd be willing to share with me. So I heard I'm unimportant. Excuse me. What else?
Unimportant, needy, right? I'm asking for something. So what else do you want to do? What else? Those are two. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any judgments of her?
Yeah, for sure. That she's, I guess also maybe another one is like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe my judgments of her, like she's like too busy, or she doesn't want to go out of her way to check a bag, or she was unclear because she asked me, like her comment was like something that was not possible based on like the action she took.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so these are facts. What are your judgments about her?
Those are facts.
She's too busy is kind of an assessment. And so then a judgment has got more emotional charge in it, like she's self-centered.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing is that my mom's self-centered one of your judgments? No?
No.
So it's more like coming back on you. She can't be bothered. That sounds like it's all coming back to you. Like I'm not important enough for her to check a bag.
Right.
And so and then it sounds like she's kind of getting mildly upset with you.
Yes.
So do you have a judgment of her for that?
That's funny. So I guess the judgment would be that I don't know. It's kind of what I said. Like she can't go out of her way. She, and like they all come there and it looks so pretty, but of course South Florida, it's just like.
Yeah, the sound is like, it feels like we're hearing your voice speaking from another place, maybe.
Oh, it's because I have you guys on my phone and my computers. You do hear that?
Oh yeah, if you could turn one of them off.
Yeah, I want my computer's off.
Okay.
Is it still like that?
No, I think it's good. Thank you. She's too busy. She can't be bothered. There's either a judgment about her or you or both in that. Because some of this is just factual. She can't be bothered. She's saying, she doesn't want to check a bag, but you put a meaning on this.
Yeah, I guess the extra meaning with that would be like she's selfish, but she's bringing me clothes from her office, so I don't actually think that, like it's, I don't know. That feels like a bit of a stretch for me.
Okay, all right. So I'm unimportant. I'm needy if I ask for something. Any others coming up about this?
I guess more in the context of the staying with us thing, like I'm not being like heard or seen.
So she got upset about not being allowed to stay at the house during your kind of sacred time. I hear it. Okay. So, here's the deal with mothers. Let's just do a sidebar on mothers. For women, that relationship with mother is the most important relationship of our lives. It's the most formative relationship in our lives because the way the female brain is wired differently than little boys' brains. We have a deep need to have this connection and love from our mothers. And if we didn't get it or we perceive we didn't get enough, it's a pretty big wound. Secondly, what I my training from parenting, all children are wired for survival. So Samara, when you use the word survival, that's what this is. Children are wired. Children know that I need to keep these people, my caregivers, usually mom and dad, parents. I need to keep their love flowing to me, their acceptance of me going, because it's life and death if I don't. Because back in the day it was, if a child was thrown out of the tribe, being ostracized and thrown out of the child was a life and death thing. So we are this is a deep one. We're going to do some work on it. And just all of you know, this is a deep one. We get into mother and a woman and the relationship with a mother. This is some stuff here. So I'm going to pull from some of the training that I have around this understanding of something called mother hunger, when we perceive that our mothers could not meet our emotional needs fully, to do some of this self-forgiveness work, because I want to serve Samara. So, you can choose to not do this or just do a lighter version of this if you work with someone. So can I ask you, Samara, can I lead you through a self-forgiveness process?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So just those of you, just to, I've got some expertise in this that I'm going to throw in some things that she didn't say. You don't have to do this, but I'm doing this level because this is what's showing up. So Samira, I want you to actually close your eyelids and put your hand over your heart. Can you connect to the love that's in your heart? Can you feel that there? Just nod your head when you feel like you can feel the actual love energy in your heart. Okay, great. So just repeat, if it resonates, just repeat after me. You may or may not fully believe it, but say the words. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself
for judging myself
as unimportant.
as unimportant.
I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself as needy.
for judging myself as needy.
Samira, will you put your head vertical? Something, by the way, there's some energetic thing going on there. The body never lies. Her body position is reflective of something going on inside of her. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for judging myself
for judging myself.
as too much if I ask for something.
It's too much if I ask for something.
Forgive myself for not being worthy of being heard.
I forgive myself for not being worthy of being heard.
I forgive myself for not being worthy of being seen.
I forgive myself for not being worthy of being seen.
I forgive myself for judging myself as too much.
I forgive myself for judging myself as being too much.
I forgive myself for deciding that asking is wrong.
I forgive myself for deciding that asking is wrong.
I forgive myself for every time I abandon myself
I forgive myself for every time I abandon myself
to try to keep my mom happy.
to try and keep my mom happy.
I forgive myself for abandoning myself
I forgive myself for abandoning myself
to try to keep the peace.
to try and keep what?
Wait,
The
that's so
peace.
funny that you said
The
that.
peace.
I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for buying into the belief
for buying into the belief
that it's my job to keep my mother happy.
that it's my job to keep my mother happy.
I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for all the times
for all the times
I gave up my truth to be a good girl.
I gave up my truth to be a good girl.
I forgive myself for all the times I people pleased.
I forgive myself for all the times I people please.
I forgive myself for every time I tried to fix it with my mom.
I forgive myself for every time I try to fix it with my mom.
What's true is
What's true is
I had a mistaken belief
I had a mistaken belief
about what was my job and what was my mom's job.
about what was my job and what was my mom's job.
What's true is
What's true is
it's my mom's job to take care of her emotions.
it's my mom's job to take care of her emotions.
What's true is
What's true is
I deserve to be seen and heard,
I deserve to be seen and heard,
especially starting with me.
especially starting with me.
I can change that pattern starting today.
I can change that pattern starting today.
What's true is
What's true is
I'm not in charge of conflict mediation.
I'm not in charge of conflict mediation.
What's true is
What's true is
everyone in my family will be healthier if I give this back to my mom.
everyone in my family will be healthier if I give this to my mom.
What's true is
What's true is
loving boundaries serve everyone.
loving boundaries serve everyone.
What's true is
What's true is
what other people think of me
what other people think of me
is actually not my business.
is actually not my business.
What's true is
What's true is
I can give myself everything I need,
I can give myself everything I need,
including infinite acceptance.
including infinite acceptance.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And just take a deep breath and come back, open your eyelids when you're ready. And what if any of that is landing for you?
I think absolving myself of the responsibility.
Okay. And if you were to take an action on that, what would make that look like? It could be inner or outer. What would an action be that would help you align with absolving yourself of taking responsibility?
I think it would be like stating my truth, but then also maybe like not taking any action.
State my truth and not, I didn't hear the last part.
Like on one hand, it could be stating my truth. On another hand, it could be just not taking any action.
Oh, okay. Or not take action. Are you willing to make a 10% shift on that in the next month?
Yeah.
What would you need? What kind of support would you need, do you think, to do?
I think that I would need, I don't know, like some reminder. Maybe it's affirmations could be good.
You're in luck. We're hearing other voices. There are people
Yeah,
around.
I'm just in a public place. That's why.
Oh, okay. So you would need permission to what?
Oh no, I said affirmations.
Oh, affirmations. Oh, I thought you said permission. And what would an affirmation be that would help you?
Other people's emotions are not my responsibility.
Yeah. What when they come up strongly, what could you do that would be 10% shift?
I don't know, because I feel like my default is like to like withdraw.
Hear you.
So I'm not sure, to be honest.
I have an idea for you, brought
Okay.
to you by God and my current family drama. I have an idea for you that I'm living into myself. When I tell you my family has no drama, no upset, it's just like extremely low levels of drama and upset, which I am so grateful for. But there was a massive upset here 48 hours ago where I tremendously upset, which is, I can't even, I mean, it's been 10 years or more since this has happened. So I'm in it. So I want to give you coaching that I'm giving myself. So God has arranged for my children to be one child massively upset by me. And then they're with their dad, his new girlfriend, and each other in a place called Kangaroo Island, which is the southernmost part of Australia off of the coast of Adelaide, with no cell phone service. So my children are the nearest and dearest things to me. To have conflict between us is very, very difficult. My ex-husband is a Libra, never rocks the boat, never says anything. I have a very good relationship with him. I met the new girlfriend. She's delightful. Like, we're all good. He is spitting angry at me. So it's just, so when my kids get into service, which will be, I think, in another 48 hours, Samara, I'm going to, so I've been through the, like, I've gotten mad at my ex-husband. I've gotten mad at myself. I've gotten mad at my husband because he was a player in this. I've been hurt. I've been upset. I've been through the entire wheel of emotions. When I talk to my daughters, because, you know, I'm a coach. So sometimes it's like, I have to take off my coach hat, but this is actually putting on a coach hat. Can anyone guess what I'm going to do? What's going to be my strategy?
So listen.
Yes. I am going to get very curious. And let me tell you, because it's very close to me, Samara, that has taken me 48 hours. Like, God is literally saving me, because I can get very like, you didn't this and you didn't that. And, when the old patterns get activated, when it's big, deep upsets like this is for you, it's just like, with all my knowledge, and I have a tremendous amount of peace in my life, I went back to being freaking 4 years old, because that's what we all do. We go back to the ages when we were hurt. And so I just noticed myself go through the whole thing of like blaming first myself, then them, anger, intense amount of tears. Like I've had to wear more makeup from the crying. And it's just like, oh, and this is one of the highest level skills you can have if you're in a couples relationship, is to, when triggered, get curious. And it's a high level coaching skill. I rarely almost never get triggered in my coaching sessions, but it's like, get curious. But it's what I teach couples. So we're soul-centered coaches. Our way of living needs to be, I do the self-forgiveness. I dance. I move through the emotion. I show up. I have a conversation with my inner child. We have something called free form writing. I'll put that skill. I think it is up there, all right. It's called purge writing. I'm going to put a bunch more resources up for you. So the highest, way to be in relationship is, I get triggered, right? In no way was I in a place to be like, if this was a divine conspiracy happening for everyone, not while I'm triggered. It took me 48 hours. I can't tell you the last time it took me 48 hours to process through emotions. Doesn't happen to me. So I was not there, but I was just like, I know I need to dance. I went on a beach walk this morning. That's why I'm kind of hot and sweaty here today. It was just like, I needed that amount of self-care. I needed a beach walk. I went to the gym. I did a workout. I did purge writing. I'm doing self-forgiveness morning and night. I am processing with Paul, who is a brilliant coach. And so the healthy way to be in relationship, whether it's our mother or our partner or our children, I get triggered. I have a bunch of tools to help bring myself down. I do those first, as soon as humanly possible, so that I can be, and this is the benefit to your clients of getting to more, and so Samara did it. She got to, she got to a more body experience of, other people's emotions are not my responsibility. And from that place, I make up, you're going to be better able to state your truth or get curious. It is a ninja skill, and it is so rewarding to just, we can give some of the things that we talked about in acknowledging feelings, Samara. If you want to go back and look for some ideas, some of the things I wrote down, some things to say when you're acknowledging people's feelings. So you might just have that up on a Post-it or on your phone. Tell me more. What are you feeling? What was going on for you? I hear you, right? So as coaches, we want to infuse the negative feelings with spaciousness from asking those questions in our own personal relationships. So it's perfect that we're ending on this note. we want to get better at that too. It's just like, what were you feeling? What was going on for you? Because I, like I said, so I am over here still in my school. You know, I don't even know the meaning of all this yet. I'm honestly not there. I don't quite understand. I don't have the elevation yet in this particular situation, but I'm in it. I haven't harmed anyone. I haven't sent any mean texts. I haven't, you know, those are things I did 15 years ago. I haven't, because I have some words. And let me tell you, it's like one of the most painful insults I ever got from my ex-husband. He's like, you know, you use your God-given gift with words to harm. You've taken this gift God has given you with words and you use it like a sword to machete people. And that's why people, him, me, it was one person, him. And that's what I did. And so guess what? I get to forgive myself for that also. Right? Can you have so much compassion for Vicky? Can we all, 18 years ago, who was so profoundly wounded, betrayed, lied to, crossed the lines of bringing someone into her home that would lash out? Can you all have compassion for her? Doesn't that make sense? I do. Right? But my healing came because I started having compassion for her 16 years ago and forgiving myself for all my negative things I had done. So there's no better soapbox than that. Samira, thank you so much for your willingness. And look, these micro shifts. So all you may do is go out there and make a micro shift of like, huh, mom, huh. You're like, what am I supposed to say? I just got triggered. You just might be like, huh, I hear you. That may be the micro shift. And then next time you may be like, you know what? I hear you. Tell me more about that. I'm curious what was going on for you. Just powerfully disarming to hear people, powerfully healing to hear people, which is what you will do in your sessions. Okay, well, that was
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Good. Right. You're welcome. Well, I want to be rapid fast so we can just only go over 2 minutes. But we're going to do a super rapid, one sentence only, round robin. And I give all of you who didn't do it the first time a chance to redo this. And so instead of say what I appreciate, what I want to appreciate about you, you're going to say what I appreciate about you or what I love about you, either way. One sentence. Shira to Samira.
What I appreciate about you is your willingness.
And 2-word answer, Samira.
Thank you.
Samira to Barbara.
What I appreciate you, actually what I love about you is your playfulness.
Thank you.
Barbara to Rochelle.
Rochelle, what I love about you is your fierce, loving heart.
Oh,
Mm.
thank you.
Okay, I guess we've lost Andre, so Rochelle to Vicky.
Vicky, what I love about you is everything. I can't pick one word. Sorry. That's
Thank you. Vicky to Shira. Shira, what I love about you is your all inness with all the things that you do.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful souls. That is a wrap. I will send you an email about some ideas I have for you about keeping it going. Right, just a few, I mean, of course, anything to do. I was just reading something from what I have not very many corporate clients, but a man who's a CFO back in Chicago, and the head of his organization, which is $100 million company, was interviewed saying, what is the most important indicator of success of a company? And he said, at our company, we call it rope. It's the rate of personal evolution for all the leaders. So you are in a field that is absolutely exploding, and your personal evolution, going up the ladder of which you're all doing. Thank you so much for being here. Is the most important thing you can do for your business and your life. It's been an incredible deep honor. Rochelle, thank you so much. Rochelle made this happen. She asked me and asked me and then asked me again. So thank you for making this happen. This has been an absolute joy. So yeah, I'm going to send you a tiny little questionnaire about how I can help you, and make sure and schedule your sessions, because I do not think I will have time after November 19th. So I want to make sure you get those in. If you can't find time on my calendar, email me. I will find some for you. Okay. All right, beautiful souls. Let's just unmute and give everyone a sweet goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.